Well, hi there. Welcome back to the Paisley Food Fight. This time we're looking at fish and chips, and I'll have this meal in five different Paisley eateries and give ratings on each. Also touching on the toilets, the service, and the general value proposition. So first up, we're at the Lord Lounsdale, which is on Lounsdale Road in Paisley, which is near the RAH Hospital. This is in the Sizzler pub chain, which is part of Michelin Butlers. So make sure you have the right app for this. The pub was relatively quiet. It was only 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. We did get some faffing about with the waitress trying to pick a table for us, but we got seated and the service was generally quite good. We had a customer look through the toilets. The gents was okay. Somebody had left a message in the bowl of the only toilet available, and Irene had a look at the ladies and said that was fine. So we ordered up the food. I'll show you the menus here. They do two meals for £13.50. It's quite a small selection. There's only six meals you can choose from, but it does include the fish and chips. So we had that. Quite a good deal, and the food came in about 10 minutes. The fish you can see here, a nice big piece of fish sitting on a bed of chips with garden peas. You also had the choice of mushy peas. The fish was nice, it was crisp, and you can see they gave you a slice of lemon as well. You're also provided with sachets of tartar sauce, which the waitress bought. Although I would prefer the homemade terrine type that you get me served with your plate, but you can't have everything. It was a cold night, so we didn't have an alcoholic drink. I had just a cup of tea and a coffee. The tenants was 4.35, but the tea was only £2.15. It went well with the fish and chips. So I have a wee dig about in the fish here. You can see it's a decent sized bit of white meat. It was a little bit soggy. The batter, although crispy on the outside, was a bit soggy where it met the fish. But I did eat it all and it was good. And Irene had the gammon steak, and that was good as well. 7 ounces, so it's quite a big one. And we taste of it, and she said it was certainly better than the one she had previously at the Projectionist pub. So overall, this was a cheap outing. The whole bill was only 18.15, which is pretty good. You're getting your fish and chips for 6.75, which is cheaper than you get it in a fish and chip shop. So it's obviously a good deal you're getting here. So overall, it was a satisfactory visit. A couple of things you could pick up on. So I'll put the scores up here, and this was a decent, if unremarkable, start to this food fight. Hey, so we're back round two now and walking towards the next restaurant. You can see here the Paisley Museum, which is still under construction. It's not until the second half of 2026 it's ready, and it's going to cost 65 million quid. So for the 77,000 people of Paisley, it's about 800 quid each. So I'd rather have the money, thank you. Anyway, so we're heading down Story Street towards Allan's Snack Bar, which is part fish and chip shop, part cafe restaurant. It's always popular and busy, mainly because it's quite cheap, but it's also really good food wise. I took a few shots inside, but I didn't want to bother people too much. We get an idea of the sort of 50s aesthetic. Place is a Paisley institution, and it says so in the menu to emphasise the fact. So they do a really good deal. You get a three-course lunch for £8, and that includes a bowl of lentil soup or some orange juice, a choice of chippy favourites, and an ice cream. Or as we did, you can change your ice cream for a pot of tea. So a nice fish tea for £8, great value. You couldn't get that in a chip shop generally. So we ordered up and had our usual trip to the toilet. So had a look around. Again, quite an old-fashioned sort of toilet, but clean enough. Nothing in the toilet pan itself. So well beyond past marks here. So that was fine, and Irene felt the same about the ladies, which was good. So we got the lentil soup right away. It's really nice staff in this place. They're all sort of, young girls that are really friendly. The lentil soup was excellent. You see here it's homemade, lots of bits in it, and it was nice and salty, that sort of lentily tasty way. So I really enjoyed this. You get a slice of butter bread with it as well. After that came the main event. I got the fish supper here. You can see it's massive. You know, it's maybe a slightly small plate, but it's hanging off the edges here, and you couldn't get any more chips in there if you tried. It came with what they describe as homemade peas, which is I don't know what they do to them, but they're really nice. Not quite mushy, but not garden either. So it worked well with a nice bit of vinegar and brown sauce on there. The fish is really excellent. You can see how flaky and white it is, and it's got a really nice crisp batter, and it wasn't soggy underneath. The chips are excellent. After the Lord Lounsdale ones in the last visit, you can see these are a different class altogether, big and meaty, wee bit of skin on, but that's excellent, and they're nice and crunchy. So ate a lot, of course, and really enjoyed it. Irene had the mince pie, not a steak pie, a mince pie with gravy and beans, and again, she really enjoyed that, and it was a hearty portion. Tea was tea, it was plenty good, so that was nice too. So it's a really satisfying meal for £8 each, and you also have a choice to add on a dessert. They do a Mars bar, deep fried, of course, in Scotland, which is £6, which is nearly as much as your fish supper, but probably just as many calories. So I'll put up the scores here. Overall, an excellent visit. It's always good food in this place, and it's really cheap. And I think this one will be hard to beat. Right, so it's round 3 of the food fight, and we've got a lovely day for it in Paisley here towards the end of November 2025. So we're heading up Shuttle Street, which is at the back end of Paisley near the university and the Arts Centre. Original plan here was to go to Shuttle on Shuttle Street, but unfortunately it was shut. Their website said otherwise, but they're lost. Anyway, so we headed up to top of Shuttle Street and went to Jam Jar, which is a place I've enjoyed before, and also one that a few of you recommended, so thanks for that. We get a seat right away, and it was relatively busy. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon when we went in. So I took a little bit of footage in the bar and restaurant areas, but I didn't want to take too much. I don't want to upset people eating their dinner or lose my cover as a secret shopper type reviewer. Anyway, so I got a nice picture here on Santa's chair, and the barmaid did offer to put on a Santa hat, which she politely declined. So you can see the menus here. Great selection of food. It's almost too much choice, but obviously I'm on the fish and chips. But even then, you've got a choice of battered or breaded fish, which I had the battered, and you also got a choice of either curly fries, um, thick cut chips, or skinny fries. So I went for the thick cut chips, and the waitress said to add on some spicy powder, which I agreed to, and that was a good choice. Irene had the Hoff and Hoff, which is half a pizza, half a pasta. And this is the same price as the fish, £13.95, and it was plenty of food. I didn't get very good pictures of Irene's food, unfortunately, but here's a picture of the pizza that's in the fridge. So Irene just ate the mac and cheese and didn't bother with the pizza, so we'll have that later. But before the food arrived, we had a quick look around the toilets, and there was no issue here at all, no debris to be sighted, plenty of paper and towels and whatever. And the ladies was the same, with some nice you go girl type message on the wall here. So the food came quite quickly, within about 10 minutes or so, and you can see the fish here, nice big long thin bit of fish. Wasn't very thick, to be honest with you, but it was quite meaty. Break it down a wee bit here. Nice crisp batter. The chips were good. I'd call them wedgies more than chips, to be honest with you, but the spicy dressing was quite nice. Also came with garden peas, which were okay, nothing special, and a cut salad, which was a bit strange, but ate it anyway, apart from the tomato as usual. So for drinks, it was quite cold, so I had tea with the milk coming in a sort of science speaker here, which was a bit strange, but fair enough. Maybe they're doing experiments out the back. And Irene had a latte. The service was excellent. The staff were all very friendly, and the waiter checked in on us a couple of times. The whole bill came to £32.90, which is a bit more expensive than our previous outings, but it was a quality feed. And as I say, we did get some leftovers to take home. The fish wasn't as good as Allan's, but it was pretty good, and it's probably more of an Italian take on the fish supper, which is fine given the environment we're in there. So overall, very nice place. Would recommend you visit. So I've put the scores on the doors here, and it's a strong showing from an excellent establishment. Right, so we're off to number 4 now, and we're giving Shuttle another chance. We tried to get here previously, as you remember, but it was closed on a Monday. The website's now been updated to reflect that fact, so I'm glad the message is out. Anyway, so walking up a nice old cobbled alley here, I see some murals of Paisley Stars and Jimi Hendrix, and we're walking towards Shuttle. This is an interesting sort of complex. It's a courtyard, and it has various venues inside. It has a karaoke bar, it's a champagne cava bar, lots of other stuff as well. But the food was getting served in Ballers, which is a sports bar. So I have to say I didn't have a great bit of optimism about the fish and chips, but we were pleasantly surprised. There was only one chap on duty, and he gave us menus and said, you need to order at the bar. So service wasn't brilliant, but the guy was doing his best, so it's fair enough. He did say there was no pasta available, which was strange. There's quite a lot of pasta on the menu, but it sounds like the pasta van never made it through the blockades. So the only thing they were offering was pizza, burgers, and luckily fish and chips, which me and Irene both ordered. So we had our customary visit to the toilet, and it was obviously just recently cleaned because it still had the blue loo stuff in there, so there was no debris to speak of. But it did seem generally in good order. Irene did say that the ladies was lacking its toilet paper, which is yet to be installed, but all worked out well in the end. So the food came out really quickly, and you can see it here. It's really impressive, nice presentation. You've got a big bed of nice chips, and on top of that, your fish. You've also got large tubs of tartar sauce and mushy peas. And we also asked for tomato sauce, and this came in an equally massive tin. So plenty of condiments here to keep us going. Have a wee dig about the fish here. You can see it's really crispy. There's no sogginess next to the fish, and the fish itself is a good size and it's nice and meaty. So really enjoyed this overall. I have to say it's probably the best one we've had. Certainly in terms of quality, and it was really reasonable as well. This was 10.95, which is a lot cheaper than its near neighbour Jam Jar, and this one was better. The only criticism we would level is that they serve your dinner on a piece of paper, which is a bit of a waste of time, and it just gets ripped and you end up eating it. So don't want that anymore, please. I did feel dinner got a little bit cold quite quickly because the venue's cold, but we were the first customers of the day, so hopefully that was something that wouldn't be a long-lasting problem. But overall, this was an excellent meal. We really enjoyed it, and it was good value. So if you're in the area, I would certainly give Baller Sports Bar a look. A surprisingly excellent fish and chips. Well, here we are. It's the 1st of December. Nice wet day in Paisley as usual. Nice view of the Abbey there. So we're on to the fifth restaurant pub in this edition of the Paisley Food Fight, and we're heading to Gabriel's on Glasgow Road. This is another Green King pub, which is the same as Craig Do, which actually won the Katsu Curry edition. So hopes are high. It's a nice pub, pretty standard layout and decor. Has the sport on. It's quite busy. They do a decent lunch offering here, menu wise. So the menu's here. You get two courses for £13.49, but if you want the fish and chips, it's an extra £1.50. So that does jack it up a wee bit, makes it a bit more expensive than some of the other places I've been. But we ordered up and had a usual visit to the toilet, bit of debris in the men's, as hidden here. And Irene said the ladies was fine, so no issue there. We ordered on the app, and the app was a bit of annoyance because I didn't wanted coffee and I couldn't find coffee on it, and I wouldn't find it with the search. And they also offered me a free drink for being such a loyal customer. But when I got the final bill, the free drink hadn't been taken off. So I don't know if the Iron Brew I had was not on the offer or if the offer couldn't be used with something else. But these things are just a pain in the bum. It's an annoyance which they don't need. Anyway, so the food arrived, and you can see it here. Nice looking fish and chips. Shamefully, I never actually did my usual video here, although I did, but I must have deleted it. But we'll look at the fish for a bit longer. It's a nice, it's a decent size. It's quite meaty. The batter was quite crispy, maybe slightly overdone, a bit darker. I like it, but it was generally good. Peas were a wee bit dried up, perhaps, not brilliant, and the tartar sauce wasn't the best. It was a bit bland. The chips were the usual freezer type you get, and there wasn't that many of them actually. No chips left. Well, I still had half my fish, but that's probably just me being greedy. So overall, it was okay. It was an average sort of dinner. I wouldn't complain about it, but I wouldn't rave about it either. Irene had the Hunter's chicken, which she enjoyed. I had a wee taste of the sauce, and I thought it was a bit sweet, but overall, it's a sort of passable lunch. Um, I'll put the scores up here. Price wise, it's in the middle. Food wise, probably middle-ish as well. So nothing to write home about. Overall, decent. So that brings us to the end of this round of the Paisley Food Fight Fish and Chips edition. I quite enjoyed it. It's not a dish I would usually order, so I was glad to eat the fifth one because I won't be ordering it again anytime soon. But there was a good variety, and overall the quality was good. I'd say the best one we had was the one at Ball or Sports Bar, which was excellent. But overall, I'll have to give the award to Allan's Snack Bar, which was marginally not as good, but overall experience was a lot better, and the value proposition was obviously higher as well. So well done to Allan's, a well-deserved tribute here, and you can print this off and stick it in the window, scare the children away. Anyway, so thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Food Fight. I had a good time doing it, and if you've got any other ideas about what I could eat or where I could find a better fish and chips, please mark them in the comments below. But I'll see you again soon, and thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.